Hey everyone, welcome back to KBS Technocraft BDD tutorial. Today we are going to discuss behavior driven development, that is BDD part 1, getting started with BDD and Specflow. We are going to understand what is BDD, what is BDD process, why we should use BDD, difference between TDD, BDD and ATDD. Here, TDD means test driven development, BDD means behavior driven development, and ATD means acceptance test driven development. Also, we are going to do the environment setup. We will try to follow a step by step process. What are the components, tool, and add ons are required to run the BDD test cases. Okay, before we dive into today's video, I wanted to take a moment to invite you to join my channel, KBS Technocraft. If you like what you see, please consider hitting the subscribe button. By subscribing, you will never miss out on our latest videos and updates. Your support through subscribing would be greatly appreciated and it will help me to continue creating valuable content for you. So, we will try to understand in first what is behavior driven development. Behavior driven development is a software development methodology that focuses on the desired behavior of the system. It is collaborative approach to software development that involves developer, tester, business stakeholder in defining the requirement and ensuring that the software meet the desired behavior. We will explore BDD in more detail. Also, you can consider BDD as an extension of test-driven development, but instead of just testing the software, it focuses on defining the behavior of the system or software in a human-readable format. BDD scenarios are written in the Gherkin language, which use keywords like given, when, and then format that describe the behavior of the system. The given section describes the initial state of the system, and the when section describes the action that is performed, and the then section describes expected outcome which you require to verify. BDD involves collaboration between developer and tester, the business stakeholder to define the requirement and ensure that the software meet the desired behavior. This collaboration ensures that everyone has the shared understanding of the desired behavior of the system, that the software meet the requirement. Now, if you see this diagram where we are representing the BDD process, in this BDD process, first we'll have a scenario which contains a setup statement or setup expected output need to be verified or business behavior need to be verified. When you run it, since the system is under development, it will fail, and then you do the coding for that particular scenario and fix the issue because of what that particular scenario is getting failed, and try to refactor the code again and try to rerun and see that that test case get passed, or you can consider that scenario get passed. If the scenario get passed, then you can take next scenario and try to automate in same way or try to write in same way. But if that test case or scenario get failed, then you have to reiterate or multiple round of refactoring and coding changing until the time that particular scenario does not get passed. You have to keep repeat this process. In this, you can also see that in this we have also shown that the coding phase also have its iteration itself, that means repetition itself. So here, that's how this sub process is known as a TDD, because when you are writing a code, a developer write the code, then what does it do? It used to be followed the test driven development approach. So when a developer or team following the development approach, then first he write the test case. If this test case get failed, then he try to refactor it, and it keep doing that till the test unit test cases are getting passed. So that you understand that here that BDD process is internally is follow the TDD process. Now we will try to understand why we should use the BDD. Basically, there are two major reasons why we should use for a BDD. First is focus on behavior. BDD focuses on the behavior of the system, not just the implementation. This means that the developer, tester, and stakeholder work together to define the desired behavior of the system and ensure that it's meet the requirement. That means any point of time, all these teams from the business, from the stakeholder, and from the developer, everyone will be on same page and same language, which is very simple and generic language in English format. It will be shared to all and it will be easily understandable to a non-technical people as well. Collaboration. BDD involves collaboration between developer, tester, business holder. This collaboration ensures that everyone has the shared understanding of the desired behavior of the system and the software meet the requirement. There are other reasons why we should use it, BDD, because like automation, BDD scenarios are often automated using tools such as Cucumber, Specflow. This allow the scenario to be run as a part of automation testing process, ensure that the software meet the desired behavior. Next, we can consider that the advantage is continuous integration. Like other unit tests, unit test tools, it also provide a direct integration with the CI/CD pipeline. So if you have a set of test cases or scenarios which you want to run using CI/CD pipeline, it's very easy to integrate with that and you can run it. Now we will discuss about the difference between TDD, BDD, and ATD. TDD means test driven development, BDD means behavior driven development, and ATDD means acceptance test driven development. So the test-driven development is technique that focus more on the implementation of feature. But BDD is a development technique that focus more on the system's behavior, not only the features. Okay, ATDD is a technique similar to BDD, focusing more on the capturing the requirement. So basically, the main focus for TDD is unit test. Basically, the development point of view, the majorly the developer is responsible for this so that he can write a test case, unit test cases by having the maximum coverage so that the defect can be identified before it's go to the production environment. Okay, so BDD is basically a behavior where you are majorly focusing on the behavior. So you are writing more scenarios to test the behavior of the system. And then the ATDD is basically is extension of BDDD where you are trying to write the acceptance test for a particular system. I hope it's made clear. So, what is Specflow? Specflow is a test automation solution for .NET built upon the BDD. You can use Specflow to define, manage, and automatically execute human-readable acceptance tests in .NET project. Specflow tests are written using Gherkin, which allow you to write test case using natural language. Specflow uses the official Gherkin parser, which supports over 70 languages. These tests are then tied to your application code using so-called binding, allow you to execute the tests using the test framework of your choice. You can also use a test runner called Specflow runner. We can discuss more when we are going to create a sample and we are going to select the test runner. You will be able to understand in more detail, but for time being you just consider that it supports multiple test runner for test execution. Okay, so now we will move on the installation part. To install Specflow, you need editor to write this. So the Visual Studio 2022 or 2023 you can install first. So you can install Visual Studio from this URL, and then after installing once the now next is install the extension for Specflow. To install extension for Specflow, you have to go on the menu item of the Visual Studio and click on manage extension. Once you click on manage extension, you can try to find out Specflow, and once you click on that it will take few seconds and you will be able to see that Specflow. So if it's not installed, it will come download and install, and if it's installed, it will show you the trick. Since in my system I have already installed, it's showing me as a trick. So once you install it, now we are good to start the new project for the Specflow. So to do that, you have to click here new and then select project, and then you have to select the template. So here you can type Specflow. For me, since I have already selected, this is displaying, but first time when you are going to do, it might not display. To do that, you just try to click on Specflow here, and you will be able to get that down result. So you are able to see, select that, this, and then create next, and then give. So I'm just giving Specflow demo. I'll copy this name. Okay. And then this is optional. You can select it, either you want your solution in the same directory or not. This is fine. You can select any option. And then here, that's what I was talking about this in the previous topic, where we have talked about the test runner. So here, since Specflow supports multiple test runner, so you can select any of the test runner. For example, I select the X unit, so I selected X unit, and this option is optional. This is fluent assertion, a library which will be added in your solution that will be used for assertion. For this demo, it's not required. If you want to ignore, you can uncheck it. So I will let it checked, and then I create it. So I once I create this solution, what I will see that it will create a solution with a feature file called calculator, and then also it will have a step definition. So let's go there. To go there, you have to click on view and go on the solution explorer, and then you are able to see here. So let's go one by one file and we'll try to understand what does it. So here we have a calculator, that is a feature file. A feature file is basically a file where you can write multiple scenario. So a feature can contain more than one scenario, and a scenario can contain more than one step. These are the steps. So this is very simple. A test case for a calculator where we are passing given one number and then second number, and then we are trying to add it, and then we are verifying the result. Okay, so I will go one by one line here. So first one is feature. Feature is, as I have mentioned, you can give any name based on your feature what you are going to test it. And then this is tag. This tag is my tag. I can define as a smoke. So basically this is very useful when you are going to group logically some of the test cases. For example, you are having 1,000 test cases and you want to group five test cases as a smoke test cases. In that case, all those five test cases, wherever you want to group them to smoke test case, just add a smoke. So you can give any name. Smoke 1, 2, 3 is a user defined. I have given a smoke. That's fine. So this is the feature file where we have this feature name. This is scenario. This is scenario title, and this is the step. So now if you click on right click here, you can see it. You will be able to see go to step definition. So let me first build this solution, build it. So this is how you can build it. Right click here and then click and then build a solution option here. So if you see down, it's a building here, and once build finish, we can see that the build success here is showing build succeed. Now build is successful happen, and now if you click here on any of the step definition and go to step definition, so if you click on that, it's redirecting. Now you can understand that how does this feature file and step definition are mapped. So if you see this statement and the feature file, these statements are same. So that's how is mapped that particular feature step to step definition file. Now, and the mapping used to be binded using this bind attribute. So that's how the feature file binded to the step definition file. I will not go in more detail because we are going to have a more detailed uh, tutorials and sessions on that. So I will just comment that through statement because there is no implementation of any of this step, so it will throw the exception when we are going to run it. And a bit. Okay, now let's go here. There is no logic, no assertion is written. That's fine. This we are just trying to check our environment setup is fine or not. So I deleted that description part which they have added it just to explain it, and then I need to build it. I will build it. Okay, once the build successfully happened, then I have to go into the test explorer. So here you have to go test and then text explorer, and you will be able to see those test cases whatever is there. So let it load. It will take few minutes to load it. Let me rebuild once again, and then we'll go on text explorer. You can see the test explorer is displaying. So you can see category is smoke. So it can logically, same test case can be grouped logically in multiple tag based on the tag whatever you define, and then also it will display the feature wise. So same test cases are grouped into different logical groups. So you can see one is the feature and other one is the category which we have defined as a smoke. So we can select anyone. Let me run it. So I will select this and I will run it. Let it. Is enabling, still build is going on. So I need to go text explorer. I can see now run. So when I click on run, you will be able to see these test cases are getting run. So this test case are, so how to check that this test case, let me say that here I will put assert. I need to put using assert at equal. Okay, so we will see what we are passing here. So let's go on the feature file and we'll see that 50. I'm just trying to check that. So we can pass is number. Number is 50. Number is the parameter which is coming from there. That we will discuss this for explaining where to assert it. I'm just trying to. So we are trying to put a assert here and see that. So if you see here, I am putting that number since the number 50 are passed from the step definition. I'm checking that number is 50. So if I run this test case, I will rebuild this test cases. Every time when do some modification, you have to build it. So if you see build successfully happen here, and then if I run the test case, I can see my test cases is getting pass. Okay, now let's say consider I will put that number equal to 60 because I'm passing 50 and I'm taking 60. And this case, what will happen? My test case will fail. So let me rebuild this. Okay, build is started, is successful, and if I run it, the test case will get failed because the assert is not going to be true. So it's still running that test case. Let's wait for. It's still running. So you will be able to see this test case is getting failed because this assert is not getting true. We are passing 50 and we are checking 60. Now, how do we generate the reports? To generate the reports, what we have to do that wherever your solution is created or folder is created where your code is. For my scenario, I have created the code into this location, E drive practice Specflow, and then you have to navigate to the bin debug and a net 6.0. If whatever the .NET version is there inside debug, you can see that what is the .NET version you have targeted. You have to go to inside debug and then that particular version of .NET is a 5, 3, 3.1, whatever it is. You have to go on that particular folder and then you have to execute two commands. One is where I have mentioned into the previous slides where I have mentioned all the environment setup. So you have to execute the living document command 3, whatever I have mentioned. And then you have to execute, let me open the command prompt and you have to execute this command. In this command, what we are trying to do that we are trying to use living doc and test assembly. Test assembly name is this assembly name is the assembly name what we have created. What is your project name or solution name? And then we are passing minus t and the test execution.json is a file which we are having inside the bin folder. So this is JSON file. So it will generate the report. So I have executed. I will open the report. So if I open the report, you will be able to see this is a HTML report, which you can see that. Once you open the report, you will be able to see this is how it's generated. And the last build, whatever you have run it, let's say consider it's a failed or pass. So last test execution, whatever we have done it, we have changed the assertion to fail it. So since our assertion is failed, this test case is showing as a test case is get failed. And it will also display the complete detail of the steps, which step this particular test case is getting failed. If you are having multiple test cases, it will display all the test cases here. And also you can see the dashboard here, uh, which represent how many test cases, features, scenarios, how many test step pass, fail, like all this. So that's all for today. I have added the link and the command what I have executed for generating report into the description. You can refer it. And thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Your support through subscribing would be greatly appreciated and it will help me to continue creating valuable content for you. So if you have not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and join the channel. Thank you.